Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Immigration Fridays. I'm your host, Prashanthi Reddy, and we are here again to explore the ever evolving landscape of US immigration. What are we going to be discussing today? Today, we will be talking about the new USCIS policy update, which came on January 15th of this year, 2025, which relates to EB2 national interest waivers. So, let's first look into what a national interest waiver is. National interest waiver offers a streamlined path to permanent residence for foreign nationals whose work benefits the United States. Unlike the traditional perm labor certification method, with a national interest waiver, you don't have to have a job offer, you don't have to have an employer, you can self petition, and you don't have to file a perm or a labor certification. In January of 2022, USCIS further updated the NIW requirements and made it more STEM friendly. So more friendly for STEM professionals and for entrepreneurs as well. So that's what's been happening since 2022. And then after that, recently we see that there's an increased demand for NIW EB2 cases, and as a result of that, USCIS has raised scrutiny. They're issuing more RFEs and also more denials. And finally, as of January 2025, this update further tightens the qualifications, making it harder to get a national interest waiver green card. Let's discuss a few benefits of the NIW versus the traditional PERM certification. Most importantly, with reference to PERM, it's a multi-step process. There is an employer involved. You have to first file a prevailing wage, then file the labor certification. That takes about 2 years until you get to the I-140 stage. For a national interest waiver, on the other hand, there's no employer sponsorship, no testing of the labor market, no need to file costly advertisements. It's a faster processing, especially with premium processing, and self-sponsorship is allowed, which creates greater flexibility for the applicant, because they can work for any employer or they can work for themselves. They're not stuck with one employer, which is the case in the PERM process. Let's now go in a little bit into the NIW eligibility criteria. Applicants for NIW must either have an advanced degree, that is a master's or a higher degree, or demonstrate exceptional ability. That means they should at least have a bachelor's plus 5 years of progressive experience. They must also pass a 3-pronged test. That means they must show that their work is of substantial merit and of national importance to the United States. They're well positioned to advance that kind of work, and the waiving of the labor certification should benefit the US. So their work has to show that it benefits the US, show that it has substantial merit, show that it's of national importance, and show that they are in a position to actually advance that work. There are a few types of NIW cases that have been really beneficial for the US, and those are NIWs for STEM professionals, and the United States has been encouraging these kind of cases. So the NIWs for STEM professionals and NIWs for entrepreneurs have been extremely useful in the recent past. The NIWs for STEM professionals, USCIS is prioritizing STEM fields because they believe there's a shortage of talent, and it's of use for economic and national reasons to advance the STEM fields. Some of the critical and emerging technologies that they have identified as per the National Science and Technology Council. So if you're working in these particular fields, AI, robotics, renewable energy, space tech, nuclear energy, etc., you might be a good candidate for a national interest waiver. Also, if you're working in healthcare, that's always been seen as a national benefit. The projection is that by 2032, STEM jobs will grow 4 times faster than other jobs. And there is also a projection that will create 3.85 million new jobs. And the United States recognizes this. The NIW for entrepreneurs also is extremely important because entrepreneurs face challenges securing job offers because they're usually working for themselves. So NIWs is an attractive option for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs must meet the same three-pronged test, but also they should provide evidence that they own a company, they have performed in leadership roles in the past, maybe they have patents in their name, they have funding from VCs or they have funding from government grants. Any of these things will, of course, help their NIW application. Also, the business has to show that it has some kind of economic impact on the US economy, and it should show technology innovation, and also it should show job creation. But just showing job creation is not sufficient. Let's now talk about the January 2025 policy update for NIW. There have been some new requirements as per the January 2025 policy update. The new requirement is that the intended occupation must also qualify as a profession. That means they're bringing in the specialty occupation that's usually required only for a H-1B into the NIW as well. So that means any profession that you're working in and that you're filing the NIW for should be a specialty occupation. That means should require a bachelor's degree in a specific field. So an example of that would be specific engineers, physicians, teachers, accountants, lawyers, etc. The bachelor's plus 5 years experience rule has been tightened. They want to make sure that that 5 years of experience is relevant experience in that particular field, not any experience. They're also saying that labor shortage alone is not enough to be able to get an NIW approved. You have to also show that your job creates a national impact, has some value to the US. Also, the entrepreneurs must show tangible benefits, as I said, beyond just job creation or economic growth. So as a whole, to conclude, I think the updates make it more difficult to get a national interest waiver because now entrepreneurs may not qualify if they're working as CEOs or managers in their company. Usually CEOs and managers don't qualify and don't require a bachelor's degree in a specialty occupation in a particular field, and so they don't qualify for a specialty occupation. So that's a disadvantage definitely, and will make it more difficult for entrepreneurs to qualify for NIW. But still, in conclusion, I would say that an NIW remains a strong option despite increased scrutiny, despite the stricter guidelines. I think the best candidates for NIW would be STEM professionals, researchers, physicians, and of course entrepreneurs. And there's no doubt that sponsorship provides flexibility because there's no employer restrictions, there's no perm sponsorship, etc. And with that, it's a wrap for this week's Immigration Fridays. Immigration laws and processes can be complex, so if you need any kind of legal help or support, please do reach out to us, prashanthi@reddyesq.com, that's my email, or call us at 212-354-1010. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and see you again next Friday with more useful information. Thank you again. Bye-bye.